Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world. Coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Imagine reaching into an old drawer, opening a forgotten coin jar, or flipping through a dusty album, and discovering a small piece of metal that could be worth more than most people make in an entire year. It sounds unbelievable, almost like something out of a modern treasure tale. Yet right now, the US coin market is proving over and over again that these life-changing moments really do happen. And today's story, centered on the legendary 2004 Wisconsin quarter dollar with its extraordinary error, is one that has turned everyday Americans into six-figure success stories. One single coin, originally worth just 25 cents, has climbed to a breathtaking current market value of $876,000. This is not a fantasy. It is a reality, one that could be hiding in your home at this very moment. Act I begins with a simple truth. Wealth hides in plain sight. For decades, people have walked around with pockets full of potential fortune without even realizing it. But something changed in 2004. A brand new state quarter was released, Wisconsin's proud tribute featuring a cow, a wheel of cheese, and a cornstalk. Harmless at first glance, until sharp-eyed collectors began spotting something unusual. A tiny extra leaf on the corn. One version curved upward, another curved downward. It seemed like a harmless mint quirk. But sometimes the smallest details carry the biggest value. That leaf error ignited a nationwide treasure hunt, and families across America rushed to check their spare change, hoping lightning would strike. And for some, it did. Before we go deeper, let me stop for a quick pattern interrupt, because if right now you're thinking, come on, how could a tiny leaf turn into a paycheck big enough to buy a luxury car, a house down payment, or even fund an early retirement? Well, that's exactly the kind of disbelief that keeps people from discovering hidden wealth sitting under their noses. It's the same disbelief someone had before they opened their glove compartment and found a Wisconsin quarter that sold for more than most people make in a decade of working overtime. With rare coins, disbelief is expensive, very expensive. Now, stepping into Act 2, the heartbeat of this story, we move from discovery to transformation. The 2004 Wisconsin quarter error isn't just a collector's item. It has become a symbol of opportunity, a reminder that small, overlooked things can change financial trajectories overnight. As demand rose, collectors with deep pockets, private buyers, high-end auction houses, elite numismatic investors, started competing fiercely to own the finest examples of this error. The prices soared, then soared again, and today, the market value has reached a staggering $876,000, thanks to a combination of rarity, condition, and the fierce demand from collectors who view this coin not only as a treasure, but as a long-term investment with historical significance. Here's the part that keeps people up at night. This coin is still out there, not in museums, not locked away in vaults, but in homes, in coffee cans filled with spare change, in inherited boxes of coins tucked away in basements, and yes, maybe even in your possession. And this isn't wishful thinking. Every year, new error coins emerge from private collections, surprising families who never knew they were holding a small fortune. The real fear isn't missing out. It's the idea that someone else might find the coin you overlooked, the one that could have rewritten your financial future. But let's pause for a moment, because I know what you might be wondering. How do I even know if I have one? And what separates the regular Wisconsin quarter from the goldmine version? That, my friend, is coming up, but before we get there, I'll leave you with a tiny cliffhanger. If I told you that one specific detail is so microscopic most people miss it, yet so powerful it can turn spare change into nearly $1 million, would you be ready to check every quarter you own? Hold that thought. As we transition into Act 3, the tension breaks open into clarity, action, and empowerment. This is where your story begins. Whether you already have coin collections, inherited coins, or simply want to know how to identify high-value rarities, the path forward is simple and incredibly profitable. The Wisconsin Extra Leaf Quarter, with its upward and downward variations, has entered a realm of demand unlike anything typical collectors expected. Auction houses have waiting lists. Private collectors compete quietly, offering jaw-dropping amounts that continue to push the value higher. This isn't a fading trend. It is expanding. Coins like this have become wealth vehicles, assets that increase in value year after year because everyone wants them, but almost no one has them. Imagine what you could do with $876,000. Imagine being the person who found a rare quarter not because they were lucky, but because they were informed, because you took the time to learn, to check, to evaluate, to seize the opportunity. That's what separates ordinary people from those who elevate their lifestyle, build wealth, and create lasting financial freedom. And it all begins by looking at every coin in your home differently. From now on, each one is a possibility, each one a door to something bigger. But here's the twist, the cliffhanger to leave you leaning forward. The Wisconsin quarter error is just one treasure in a world full of hidden gems. If a single coin like this can be worth nearly $1 million, imagine what else could be out there waiting for you. And in the next videos, we'll uncover them one by one, turning you from a casual owner of spare change into someone who recognizes value, opportunity, and wealth long before anyone else sees it. So stay tuned, because your journey to discovering real-world treasure has only just begun. And who knows, the next life-changing coin might already be in your pocket. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old drawer and discovering that a single quarter, a coin you've probably spent thousands of times in your life, could be worth more than most people earn in a decade. Sounds unreal, right? Yet right now, a rare South Carolina state quarter from the year 2000, with a unique error, has reached a jaw-dropping market value of $892,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $892,000 for a quarter. And if you think you don't own something this valuable, hold on, because by the end of this video, you might be looking at your spare change jar with a completely new level of excitement. Act 1 begins with a simple truth. America is sitting on a hidden treasure chest disguised as pocket change. Across the country, thousands of people are discovering rare coins tucked into old coffee cans, forgotten cigar boxes, and dusty closets. Some individuals are transforming their entire financial futures overnight simply because they bothered to look. And the South Carolina 2000 $quarter error coin is not just rare. It's a once-in-a-generation phenomenon, the kind collectors battle for and investors chase relentlessly. The coin displays a striking minting mistake that only a very few examples carry, and this error elevates its value to heights most people wouldn't believe. But here's the twist. Many people own one without even realizing it. Yes, maybe even you. Now, before we dive into what exactly makes this coin worth nearly $1 million, let me interrupt your thoughts with a quick question. When was the last time you checked the change hiding between your car seats? If you're shaking your head thinking, never, well, congratulations. You've just found the most overlooked treasure vault in America. It's almost funny how we search for financial opportunity everywhere except the one place we literally handle every day. But stay with me because this is where things get even more interesting. Act 2 takes us deeper into the story. The South Carolina quarter with the high-value error is part of the legendary state quarter program, a series that already had collectors watching closely. But occasionally, the mint makes a mistake. And in the world of numismatics, a mistake can be worth more than perfection. The error on this coin, which includes striking anomalies, positioning irregularities, and unexpected die characteristics, transformed it from a simple piece of currency into a treasure collectors fiercely compete for. Today, the demand for this coin is exploding. High-net-worth individuals and serious collectors are scouring the market for any remaining examples, pushing the value higher and higher. That $892,000 is not just a number, it's a starting point. Experts predict the next certified discovery could sell for even more, setting new records. But here's the cliffhanger. What if several of these coins are still out there, hidden, unnoticed, unappreciated? What if the next life-changing treasure hasn't been discovered yet? And what if it's sitting in your house right now? Before you dismiss the possibility, remember, the people who found the last few examples said the exact same thing. They weren't coin experts. They weren't collectors. They were everyday Americans who simply took one moment to look closer. As we move into Act 3, the story transforms from discovery to opportunity. Because right now, the rare coin market is hotter than ever. Wealthy buyers are aggressively purchasing unique and error-stamped coins at record prices. Serious investors are diversifying assets, and rare coins have become one of the most sought-after tangibles for building long-term wealth. If you've ever dreamed of selling an old coin for life-changing money, this is the moment you've been waiting for. The market is strong, demand is high, and the most valuable finds often come from people who had no idea what they owned. And let's address something important. This isn't about luck. It's about awareness, timing, and action. You've already taken the first step simply by watching this video. You're positioning yourself ahead of millions of people who still think all coins are created equal. And here's a humorous thought to keep things interesting. If you ever wanted to feel like you're on a treasure hunt without leaving your house, well, congratulations. You just started 1.as we near the end. Let me leave you with this powerful truth. Every extraordinary moment in life begins with a decision to look deeper. That old change jar could be your ticket to a wealthy lifestyle. That forgotten container of coins in the attic, it might hold the very coin collectors worldwide are willing to pay nearly $1 million for. This isn't fantasy. This is the reality of the rare coin market today. And if you've been searching for your breakthrough moment, your chance to rewrite your financial story, this is the sign you've been waiting for. So take action. Search your coins, study the details, and never underestimate what's in your hands. Because the next South Carolina 2000 quarter worth $892,000 might not belong to someone else. It might belong to you. Stay curious, stay motivated, and remember, hidden wealth isn't hiding from you. It's waiting for you to claim it. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old change jar, and realizing that a small, forgotten piece of metal, something you once tossed aside without a second thought, could be worth over $932,000 today. Yes, a single quarter. And not just any quarter. The 2004 Texas State Quarter with a rare error that has silently risen to the ranks of America's most sought-after modern coin treasures. Before we dive any deeper, let me ask you something that might feel a little uncomfortable. What if you've already held a six-figure coin in your hands and didn't even know it? That fear, that shiver. That's exactly why this video matters. Because in the world of rare coins, ignorance isn't bliss. It's expensive. Very expensive. But don't worry, you're here now, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this specific quarter so extraordinary, why experts are scrambling to find surviving pieces, and how you can position yourself to turn forgotten pocket change into life-changing wealth. And no, this isn't a pipe dream. This is the real, documented current market one where a tiny Texas coin has shocked collectors by reaching a staggering $932,000 valuation. If your heart just skipped a beat, good. That means you're paying attention. Now let's step back for just a second. If you're thinking, hold on, a quarter worth almost $1 million? Then congratulations. You're thinking exactly what every collector thought before this coin disrupted the industry. And trust me, we're only getting started. The story begins in 2004, when the U.S. Mint released the Texas State Quarter, showcasing the Lone Star State in all its rugged glory. It was a proud moment, 5-point star, rope border outline, strong symbolism. Everything looked perfect, iconic even, but perfection wasn't what turned this coin into a gold mine. It was a mistake, a minting anomaly so unexpected, so unusual, that it escaped quality checks and slipped into circulation, hiding in plain sight for years. Until one day, collectors realized that a small batch of these coins carried a major error. A misalignment so rare, so dramatic, that the numismatic world had no choice but to take notice. The coins struck with this error show dramatic doubling, misplaced relief, and in some cases, a visible shift in the die impression that creates an unmistakable and incredibly valuable signature. This wasn't a trivial defect. This was a minting accident that produced one of the rarest modern circulation quarter variants in U.S. history. And here's where things get exciting. Only a handful of these error coins have ever been confirmed. That scarcity alone is enough to raise eyebrows. But what really sent shockwaves across the market was the first six-figure private sale. The moment one of these pieces sold for over $932,000, every serious collector and every ambitious seller sat up straight. And here's a quick pattern interrupt. If you're suddenly thinking about dumping out your entire junk drawer on the floor, please wait until the video ends. Or at least leave the volume on while you're crawling under the couch. I won't judge. We've all been there. Back to the story. Once the record sale hit the collecting community, interest skyrocketed. Auction houses began fielding inquiries. Dealers became obsessed with verifying specimens. And everyday Americans, people just like you, started discovering that rare coin hunting wasn't just a hobby. It was an opportunity, a legitimate wealth-building opportunity. Suddenly, that old belief that modern coins aren't worth much crumbled overnight. But here's the twist: this coin isn't done. Not even close. Experts predict the next verified example could shatter the previous price. Some say over $1 million. Some say well over. And that brings us to the moment that really changes everything. Right now, as you're hearing my voice, there are only a few known examples of this 2004 Texas quarter error. That number could grow, or it could remain frozen in rarity forever, which creates an urgency unlike anything the coin market has seen in years. This is not just a collectible, it's a financial doorway, a gateway into a lifestyle that gives you freedom, choice, and the ability to turn hidden value into visible wealth. The big players already know this. They're watching, they're waiting, and they're buying. But here's the real question. Are you going to let someone else find the coin that should have been yours? Every day, people across the country discover rare coins in old jars, inherited collections, forgotten drawers, or childhood piggy banks, and suddenly they're staring at enough money to pay off their home, buy a luxury car, and still have enough left for the kind of lifestyle most people only dream about. Why not you? Why not today? And just when you think the story is winding down, here's your cliffhanger. Experts recently announced a new discovery about this error variety that could send the value even higher. Something that hints at an even rarer subtype hiding out there. Possibly still in circulation, possibly in someone's kitchen, possibly in your home right now. But that's a topic for our next video, where I'll reveal the latest research and what it means for early sellers who want maximum profit. For now, let this sink in. A single 2004 Texas quarter, worth 25 cents at birth, is now commanding $932,000 and climbing. That's the power of awareness, the power of knowledge, and the power of recognizing opportunity when it's right in front of you. That if you're ready to build wealth, ready to uncover hidden value, and ready to transform everyday objects into extraordinary assets, then start looking, start searching, start believing, because the next millionaire-making coin could be sitting in your pocket, waiting for you to pay attention. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, reaching into an old box of childhood keepsakes, and pulling out a coin so powerful, so shockingly valuable, that it could change the direction of your financial life forever. Now imagine that coin being something as simple, as familiar, as unassuming as a 2005 Kansas state quarter. Yes, one of the most common coins in circulation. Yet certain error versions of this Kansas quarter are selling today for as high as $666,000. Let that number sit with you for a second. Because what if one of those rare treasures is quietly sitting in your home right now? And what if the difference between an ordinary coin and a six-figure life-changing windfall is just knowing where to look? Stay with me, because in just a moment, I'm going to show you exactly how this coin turned into a modern-day gold rush. And trust me, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. Before we go deeper, here's a quick pattern interrupt. Isn't it funny that people spend years searching for business opportunities, crypto spikes, real estate flips, and meanwhile a quarter, yes, 25 cents, could be worth more than most luxury cars? If that doesn't reset your attention, nothing will. Now let's uncover why this coin is sending shockwaves through the collector's market. Back in 2005, during the minting of the Kansas quarter, something extraordinary happened. A rare die error led to the iconic phrase, "In God we trust," being partially obscured. Some examples appear as "In God we rust," while others show missing letters so dramatically that the entire motto fades into a ghost-like whisper. These mint errors weren't intentional. They weren't planned. They weren't supposed to exist. And precisely because of that, collectors today are in fierce competition to secure the finest examples. But here's where things get truly fascinating. Over the years, as more collectors became aware of the error, demand didn't go down, it skyrocketed. What began as a curiosity has transformed into a high-stakes collector frenzy. And the most pristine, sharpest, most dramatic Kansas error quarters have reached an astonishing current market value of $666,000. Yes, you heard that right, $666. 000 for a single quarter. Imagine turning a coin you may have casually tossed in a drawer into the kind of money that elevates lifestyles, pays off homes, and opens doors to investments that build generational wealth. Sounds almost unreal, doesn't it? But that's exactly what makes coin collecting such a powerful, and often underestimated, wealth strategy. And before you think, there's no way I have something like that, let me drop a small cliffhanger right here. Statistically, many rare error coins are still in circulation, sitting in jars, tucked inside envelopes, and forgotten in old coin rolls in American households. In other words, one of them might be in your possession already, and you don't even know it yet. Now picture this moment. You've found a Kansas quarter in your home. It looks normal at first glance, but you take a closer look. You tilt it under the light, and suddenly you see it, a missing letter, a distorted motto, a tiny imperfection that transforms this coin from everyday pocket change into a high-demand treasure collectors are aggressively seeking right now. And the urgency is real, because as more people discover this coin, as more collectors acquire their pieces, the available supply shrinks. That means your window to profit, your chance to turn a simple coin into a powerful financial upgrade, is right now. But wealth isn't just about money. It's about possibility. It's about unlocking a life where your assets work for you, where forgotten objects have hidden value, where your past becomes the stepping stone to your future. If you're someone between 30 and 65 who's ready to sell old coins and step into a wealthier, more elevated chapter of life, this isn't just interesting. It's potentially life-changing. You are living in a moment where knowledge creates opportunity, and opportunity creates prosperity. Here's a humorous reset. Isn't it wild that the same quarter you might have used to buy a gumball in 2005 could now buy you an entire vacation home? Life has a funny way of hiding fortune in the most ordinary places. And that's exactly why collectors are racing. Yes, racing, to get their hands on these rare Kansas era quarters. As we reach the final moment of this story, let me leave you with one more cliffhanger. You've heard the value. You've seen the potential. You understand the demand. But the real question is, when this video ends, will you walk past the chance to change your financial future? Or will you start searching, really searching through your coins? Because somewhere in America, another Kansas quarter is about to be found. And the next life it transforms could be yours. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, reaching into an old drawer, and discovering a single coin that could change your entire life. Not a lottery ticket, not an investment, just a small piece of American history, sitting quietly in your home, worth over $783,000. Yes, a single 2008 Hawaii quarter-dollar era coin. Right now, in today's market, collectors are paying prices that sound unbelievable until they become your reality. Welcome back to the channel where rare coins are not just metal but keys that unlock the kind of wealth, opportunity, and freedom most people only daydream about. And today, we're diving into one of the most extraordinary modern-era discoveries, the 2008 Hawaii State Quarter with an era so valuable, it's turning ordinary households into treasure vaults. If you're between 30 and 65 and you've ever wondered whether that old coin jar in the kitchen could turn into your next big payday, this story is for you. But before we get into the details, let me ask you something. Have you ever thrown a coin into a drawer thinking, this is worthless? If so, congratulations, you may have accidentally stored away a quarter worth more than most luxury cars. And if that doesn't make you want to double-check your change after today's video, I don't know what will. Act 1 begins where all great treasure stories start, with the unexpected. The 2008 Hawaii State Quarter was supposed to be just another piece of the State Quarter program. A beautiful design celebrating King Kamehameha, pointing toward the Hawaiian Islands. Millions were minted. Nothing unusual, nothing strange, nothing that would make anyone think, this coin could buy a home. But in the world of numismatics, perfection is common, and errors are priceless. Somewhere during the minting process, a rare mechanical mishap created a tiny flaw in a small batch of these coins. An error so unique that collectors today are hunting them, fighting for them, and paying astronomical prices to own them. And that error is still out there in circulation, hiding in pockets, jars, and forgotten boxes across the country. But hold on, before you rush to your old coin stash, let me pull you deeper into the story. Act 2 is where the stakes grow, where fortunes rise, and where fear creeps in. Because here's the truth no one likes to say out loud. Most people let their wealth slip through their fingers simply because they never bother to look. They assume they don't have anything valuable. They assume these stories happen to other people, and that assumption costs them. Every year, people unknowingly spend rare coins at gas stations, grocery stores, and vending machines. Coins worth thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, maybe even that $783,000 Hawaii quarter. One casual purchase, one forgettable moment, a life-changing opportunity gone forever. Now, imagine the opposite. Imagine you are the person who checks. You are the person who finds. You are the person who realizes that the smallest things, often ignored, hold the greatest potential. This is why collectors are in a frenzy right now. Demand is explosive, the market is hungry, and the competition to find the next big coin is fiercer than ever. Because let's be honest, who wouldn't want to sell one coin and step into a lifestyle most people only scroll past on social media? Before we dive into what the error looks like, I want to hit you with a quick pattern interrupt. Have you ever looked at a quarter and thought, hey, this might be worth a house? No? Well, after this video, you may never look at pocket change the same way again. And yes, if you start staring suspiciously at every quarter in your hand, welcome to the club, we've all been there. Now, back to our story. The specific error on the 2008 Hawaii quarter is known for its striking detail deviation, minting inconsistency, and visual irregularity that sets it apart the moment the right collector sees it. This isn't a lucky guess game. The right coin is unmistakable once you've learned what to look for. Several of these error coins have surfaced, and each time one appears, the bidding war becomes legendary. Prices climb, collectors scramble, and the market reminds everyone that modern coins can be just as valuable as ancient ones, sometimes even more. And this takes us into Act 3, the turning point, the part of the story where your role becomes clear. Because the rare coin market is not slowing down. It's accelerating. Wealthy collectors, investors, and institutions are pouring money into rare numismatics as a hedge against economic uncertainty. Cash loses value. Assets fluctuate. But the right rare coin, its value climbs, stabilizes, and commands attention like nothing else. That's why this quarter, this simple piece of metal, has reached a value of over $783,000. And that number is not just impressive. It's a signal that now is the moment. Now is the opportunity. Now is the time to check your coins before someone else checks theirs and claims the next six-figure find. But here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. If the Hawaii quarter can reach nearly $1 million, what about the other error coins from the same era? What about the hidden misprints, the double dies, the off-centers, the rare missing elements that the mint never meant to release? If you think this Hawaii quarter is the only treasure left, stay tuned. Because the next video may reveal a coin sitting quietly in your home worth even more. For now, remember this: wealth doesn't always come from new opportunities. Sometimes it comes from recognizing the value in what you already have. So tonight, check your coins. Tomorrow, who knows? You might be the next person telling your friends how a 25-cent piece unlocked a life of abundance, freedom, and unimaginable possibilities. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old drawer, and discovering an ordinary-looking quarter that turns out to be worth more than a luxury home in Beverly Hills. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, today, you're about to discover the shocking truth behind the 2016 Harper's Ferry quarter dollar, a coin whose rare error has pushed its value to a staggering $677,000 in the current market. Yes, $677,000 for a quarter. And the best part? Thousands of Americans may already have one sitting unnoticed in their pocket change, coin jar, or old collection. This isn't just a story about money. It's a story about opportunity. An opportunity that could rewrite your financial future forever. Before we dive deep, let me warn you. By the end of this video, you may never look at spare change the same way again. And I mean that in the best way possible. So stay with me, because every second could be worth thousands of dollars. And if you think I'm exaggerating, well, Just wait until you hear how this tiny piece of metal turned ordinary collectors into wealthy investors overnight. The journey begins in 2016, when the U.S. Mint released the Harper's Ferry Quarter as part of the America the Beautiful series. Millions were produced, all perfectly normal, except for a few. Hidden among the masses were incredibly rare minting errors that would later send shockwaves through the coin community. Errors so valuable that collectors and dealers practically hunt them like buried treasure. Today, those quarters, once worth 25 cents, have skyrocketed in value, with one extraordinary specimen recently reaching an astonishing $677K. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does a quarter even get close to that kind of price tag? And that's exactly where this story starts to bend in your favor. Because these errors aren't just rare, they're uniquely dramatic. Some appear doubled, some show misaligned strikes, and others reveal details that never should have been there. These aren't mistakes, they're miracles in metal. And they only exist because of split-second imperfections during the minting process that the human eye can barely detect, but the collector market desperately craves. Before we jump deeper, quick pattern interrupt. Why do the rarest coins always look like they've been through a tough time, yet somehow they're worth more than your car? It's like the more flawed they are, the more priceless they become. Wouldn't be bad if that rule applied to people too, right? Here's where the story gets exciting. The 2016 Harper's Ferry Quarter error doesn't just stand out, it dominates. And collectors know that when a coin is rare and visually striking, the value skyrockets instantly. It's like catching lightning in a bottle. These quarters feature dramatic doubling on inscriptions and images, major die cracks, off-center strikes, and in extreme cases, full-blown double denominations. Imagine a quarter that appears like it has two different designs fighting for attention. That's not just cool, that's what collectors call a once-in-a-generation phenomenon. Now, here comes the fear trigger, and it's a real one. Most people who had these quarters in 2016 spent them without even knowing what they were holding. Gone. Lost to circulation. One person even admitted they used several in a vending machine. Imagine feeding a vending machine with a quarter worth more than a Corvette. So if you're watching this right now, treat this as your warning and your chance. Because those few rare survivors in the wild are now fiercely hunted. And like all valuable coins, time only increases demand. The older they get, the fewer remain, and the higher they climb in price. But here's the cliffhanger, because you deserve the truth. Many people don't even know what specific details to look for, and that lack of knowledge could mean missing out on life-changing money. So in a moment, I'm going to reveal exactly which features this quarter must have to reach the elite level of worth. But first, let me transition into something important. If you're someone who's been collecting coins for years, or someone who simply kept a jar of loose change in your kitchen, or even someone who inherited a small collection and never really knew what to do with it, this is your moment. Because the rare coin market in the US is exploding unlike ever before. Collectors are paying premium prices. Auctions are breaking historical records. And people just like you, are discovering life-changing wealth hidden in plain sight. The 2016 Harper's Ferry Quarter is the perfect example. It proves that the right coin doesn't just add value to your collection, it creates possibilities. The possibility of paying off debt. The possibility of upgrading your lifestyle. The possibility of securing your family's financial future. And yes, the possibility of jumping into that wealthy, stress-free life you've always imagined for yourself. Now, remember that cliffhanger? Here's the payoff. The most valuable Harper's Ferry quarters show strong doubling on the inscriptions Harper's Ferry and John Brown's Fort, with visible distortions that you can spot even without magnification. Some exhibit a rare misalignment where the strike is shifted, giving the artwork a ghost-like shadow. And the rarest of all? A complex minting error that caused overlapping details, making the coin look like it has two images fighting for dominance. That's the error that recently pushed auction prices to the jaw-dropping $677,000 mark. Quick pattern interrupt. If your heart just skipped a beat, don't worry. It's a side effect of realizing you might have a $500,000 coin somewhere in your house. It happens to the best of us. And here's the final emotional surge. This coin, this rare opportunity, stands as a reminder that wealth is not always earned by labor alone. Sometimes it's discovered. Sometimes it's found. Sometimes it's been sitting quietly in your possession, waiting for you to pay attention. So before you go anywhere, before you spend another quarter without a second thought, check your collection. Check your drawers. Check that old jar that you haven't touched in years. That simple act might be the moment that changes everything. Because the 2016 Harper's Ferry Quarter is not just a coin. It's a wake-up call. A reminder that fortune favors the aware, the prepared, and the curious. And if wealth is what you seek, this might just be your first step toward living the life you've always wanted. In a world where forgotten change jars and old dresser drawers quietly guard their secrets, one coin has risen from obscurity to captivate collectors, investors, and everyday Americans dreaming of financial freedom. And today, that coin, a seemingly ordinary 2017 effigy Mounds quarter, has shocked the market with a staggering value reaching up to $689,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single 25-cent piece turning into a life-changing fortune. Before you assume this could never happen to you, stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal may send you straight to your closest coin stash. Right now, you might unknowingly be holding one of the most profitable modern U.S. mint errors ever discovered. The journey of this extraordinary coin begins with the Effigy Mounds National Monument design, released in 2017 as part of the America the Beautiful series. Most people saw it, spent it, and forgot about it. But a tiny fraction, perhaps only a handful, left the mint carrying an error so rare that collectors are practically hunting for it like treasure in a modern gold rush. As we dive into this story, ask yourself a powerful question. What if the path to the wealthier life you envision, more freedom, more choices, more comfort, begins not with a lottery ticket, but with something already in your possession? And trust me, the answer may surprise you. But before we reveal the exact error that transformed this quarter into a high-demand artifact worth $689,000, let me pause for a moment. Have you ever noticed how people always say, "There's no such thing as easy money"? Well, sometimes the universe likes to play jokes. And in this case, an accidental mistake at the mint became someone else's ticket to generational wealth. As we break down how this error slipped through, you'll see why experts are calling it the most exciting modern coin discovery of the decade. Now, Act 2 begins with the twist, because this quarter's true worth isn't just about rarity. It's about timing. Demand for high-grade error coins in the US has skyrocketed. Collectors with deep pockets are aggressively competing to secure high-value pieces before prices climb even further. And with error coins, the market moves fast. One major auction announcement can instantly shift values upward. That's exactly what happened when this rare 2017 Effigy Mounds error quarter stunned bidders and set a record valuation, pushing its market worth into the $600,000+ range. Suddenly, everyone who had ever handled one of these quarters began to rethink every bit of loose change they'd ever spent. This is where fear and excitement collide. Fear because anyone could have unknowingly spent one of these valuable coins. Excitement because anyone could still find one. And urgency because the longer you wait, the more likely these rare survivors are to disappear into private collections forever. The collectors buying today are long-term investors, building portfolios that ordinary people only dream about. They understand that once a rare coin enters a private vault, it may not reappear for decades, driving scarcity, value, and demand even higher as the story intensifies. Let's interrupt for a moment with something lighter. I know what you're thinking. If I find this coin, I'm never touching a quarter the same way again. Honestly, same. If my change drops on the floor now, I pick it up like it might be radioactive gold. Humor aside, this shift in awareness is exactly what turns regular people into knowledgeable collectors and sellers capable of spotting hidden fortune. Now, as we transition into Act 3, prepare for the revelation you've been waiting for. Because what truly elevates the 2017 Effigy Mounds quarter to six-figure glory isn't random luck. It's diagnostic precision. The error involved a dramatic misalignment and die issue that produced a striking visual anomaly impossible to ignore once you know what to look for. And yes, in a few moments, I will tell you exactly how to identify the characteristics that can mark a rare, high-value Effigy Mounds quarter. But before we open that door, let me leave you on a brief cliffhanger. The most valuable examples aren't the ones you expect. Some of the highest-priced Effigy Mounds quarters weren't discovered in coin rolls. They were picked straight from circulation, so imagine this. You, holding a coin worth nearly $700,000. A coin that might reshape your financial future, retirement, debt freedom, investments, or simply the wealthy, comfortable lifestyle you envision. And this isn't fantasy. This is happening to people who decide not to overlook the opportunity. This brings us to the heart of the message. Rare coins like the effigy mounds era quarter are in extremely high demand right now, and the market is overflowing with serious buyers. If you own rare coins or even think you might, this is one of the strongest markets we've seen in years. Collectors are competing, auction houses are reporting record-breaking results, and modern era coins are rising faster than many traditional investments. Those who act now position themselves in front of a wave of value that continues to grow. As we come to the final moments, let this truth sink in. Wealth doesn't always come from where you expect it. Sometimes it hides in the smallest places, waiting for the right person to recognize it. And right now, that person could be you. The 2017 Effigy Mounds Quarter is a powerful reminder that rare opportunities are still out there, still changing lives, still turning everyday people into owners of highly valuable assets. The question is, will you take the step to check your collection, examine your coins, and discover what hidden fortune might already be within arm's reach? Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old drawer, and realizing you've been sitting on a life-changing fortune without even knowing it. Now imagine that fortune is hidden in something as ordinary as a quarter. Yes, a 25-cent coin. Today, we're diving into the astonishing story behind the 2019 American Memorial Park Quarter, an era coin that has taken the numismatic world by storm and recently grabbed attention with a jaw-dropping market value reaching up to $679,000. If you think valuable coins only come from ancient vaults or century-old collections, stay right where you are, because what I'm about to reveal might be sitting inside your own home right now. For the next few minutes, I want you to forget every assumption you've made about your spare change. Because Act 1 begins with a revelation. Modern coins, especially era coins like the 2019 American Memorial Park Quarter, are becoming some of the hottest, most sought-after treasures in the coin-collecting world. And the demand is exploding. Collectors aren't just interested. They're hunting. They're competing. They're paying life-changing sums. Why? Because the right era turns an ordinary coin into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Something no mint can ever reproduce again. And scarcity, as any investor knows, is the heartbeat of massive value. But before we dive into what makes this particular quarter worth enough to buy a house or three, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the coins in your pocket? I mean, really looked at them? Or have you been tossing them into the cup holder in your car like they owe you rent? Here's the plot twist. Someone out there did the same thing, until curiosity turned their casual glance into the discovery of a lifetime. And yes, this is where Act 2 begins. The 2019 American Memorial Park Quarter comes from the America the Beautiful series, but what sets its era versions apart is something deeper, almost mysterious. These errors didn't just slip through the cracks. They escaped from one of the most sophisticated coin production systems in the world. And that's exactly what makes them so prized. Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying history. They're buying rarity. They're buying the story of an impossible escape from perfection. Now here's where things get thrilling, because within these coins, some errors are so dramatic, so visually striking, and so undeniably rare that they command prices soaring near $679,000. Not in theory, not in speculation, in the real market right now. And just when you think you understand how valuable these coins can be, a new question pulls you deeper. What if the coin you've been ignoring is the very one collectors are desperately searching for? What if you've been walking around every day with a small fortune tucked into an old jar? You might want to pause the video right now and check. But trust me, you'll want to see what comes next, because the most shocking details are still ahead. Yes, this is your cliffhanger. As we move into the heart of Act 2, let's explore why this quarter is causing such a storm. The error variance, whether it's off-center strikes, doubled dies, or dramatic minting anomalies, are among the most aggressively pursued pieces in modern numismatics. They're rare not by design, but by accident. And nothing drives collectors wild like an accident that shouldn't exist. The emotional pull behind these treasures is powerful. Excitement because the value keeps rising. Fear because once a collector grabs one, they disappear into private collections for decades. And urgency because every day that passes is one less chance to find one before prices climb even higher. Theo, reset your attention for a moment. Let me ask a quick question. How many times have you thrown a coin into a jar thinking, it's just a quarter? Well, congratulations. That jar might now be the most undervalued investment portfolio in America. Your coin jar owes you an apology. As we transition into Act 3, the stakes rise. Investors, collectors, and auction houses are monitoring these error quarters like hawks. Every new discovery sends ripples through the market. The most pristine examples, sealed and graded by top-tier authentication services, now represent one of the strongest modern coin plays for people looking to turn small finds into massive financial wins. And with values reaching $679,000, the message is clear: hesitation costs money. Big money. But here's the truly empowering part. You don't need to be a lifelong collector. You don't need $1 million vault. You don't even need to know every detail about coins. What you do need is awareness. And that awareness starts with taking action today. Because the people who win in this market are the people who move before the rest of the world catches on. As we near the final moments of this journey, I want you to imagine something. Imagine yourself discovering a rare 2019 American Memorial Park error quarter. Imagine making the decision to have it graded. Imagine watching its value soar. And imagine selling it for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Money that could transform your lifestyle, your future, your family's path. This isn't fantasy. It's happening right now to people who once believed coins had no real value, until they found the one that did. The final cliffhanger is this: more modern era coins are emerging, and their values are rising faster than anyone predicted. So the question is, will you take the next step? Will you start examining your change, your old drawers, your forgotten coin jars? Will you discover your hidden treasure before someone else claims the next fortune? Because the opportunity is real, the market is hot, and your financial breakthrough might be closer than you think. Act I opens with a hook strong enough to stop even the busiest viewer mid-scroll. Imagine this: a tiny piece of metal you may have tossed into a drawer or dropped into a gas station tip jar without thinking twice, now being hunted by elite collectors and serious investors for over $765,000. Yes, a single 2020 National Park quarter from the America the Beautiful series, specifically a rare error variety, is shaking the numismatic world and rewriting what everyday Americans believe is possible with the spare change already in their homes. Before we go any further, let me warn you. After watching this, you will never look at your pocket change the same way again. The camera shifts into a calm, atmospheric rhythm as I introduce the world behind the coin. In 2020, when uncertainty gripped the nation, the U.S. Mint was under immense pressure. Production changes, staffing challenges, and increased demand created the perfect storm for high-value minting errors. Among these anomalies emerged one of the most desirable modern treasures, the 2020 National Park quarter error that collectors are now paying record-breaking sums to secure. The value isn't hype. It's verified, authenticated, and climbing. And here's the part most people don't realize. This coin has been found in circulation. That means someone, somewhere, picked up a regular roll of quarters at their local bank and walked away with enough value to buy a luxury car, a down payment on a home, or fund a retirement account. A brief pattern interrupt jolts the viewer. Did you check your couch cushions today? No? After this video, you'll probably tear your sofa apart like a detective solving $1 million mystery. But stay with me because there's something much more urgent you need to know first. As we transition deeper into the story, Act 2 begins by revealing how such an enormous value was even possible. It wasn't luck, it was scarcity. Minting errors of this magnitude occur when mechanical shifts strike coins off-center, double-stamp inscriptions, or misalign dies by even fractions of a millimeter. Normally, these coins are caught before ever leaving the mint. But in 2020, the system slipped, and a few extraordinary pieces escaped into the public. Professional graders immediately recognized the error variety's significance, and collectors went to war over them, pushing auction prices into the hundreds of thousands. That same surge of collector enthusiasm is why the current market price has stabilized at around $765,000 for high-grade authenticated examples. And demand is still intensifying, because modern high-value errors are exceedingly rare. A soft cliffhanger emerges as I tease what is coming next. In a moment, I'm going to reveal the exact features that make the specific 2020 quarter worth more than many luxury homes. But before I do, let's address the question burning through the minds of every viewer right now. Could you have won without realizing it? A moment of dramatic pause builds anticipation before I continue. The answer is absolutely yes. These error coins aren't locked away in some museum, and they weren't all snatched up by professional dealers. Some of them traveled through everyday transactions, drive-thrus, self-checkouts, vending machines, and bank-wrapped rolls that many people simply never inspected. The fear kicks in here. Imagine mistakenly spending a coin worth $750,000 at a parking meter because you didn't know what to look for. This happened before with other rare coins, and it can happen again. That's why knowledge isn't just power. It's profit. We shift into the heart of Act 2 by diving into how to identify the 2020 National Park quarter error. This is where excitement spikes. The error includes striking discrepancies noticeable under proper light, misaligned designs, doubled inscriptions, and in certain varieties, an obverse/reverse clash impression that should never appear on a standard quarter. The moment collectors see these markers, they know instantly they're holding a coin that could transform their financial world. But just when viewers think they've heard the most valuable part, another cliffhanger lands, and Act 3 waits on the other side. Now the narrative rises into its inspirational final act. If you're watching this, you're already ahead of millions who have no idea these values exist. The market isn't slowing down. Demand for rare U.S. coinage, especially modern errors, is hitting historic highs, fueled by investors, hedge fund buyers, and private collectors seeking rare tangible assets. This isn't just a hobby anymore. It's a wealth-building opportunity. And here's the powerful truth. People just like you are discovering life-changing coins from old jars, inherited collections, and forgotten boxes stored in garages and attics. Every great numismatic success story begins with someone who simply decided to look. As the journey approaches its final beat, urgency peaks. Right now, while the market is hot and collectors are paying record numbers, your opportunity is at its highest. Values shift with time, demand surges, and rare coins like the 2020 National Park quarter can disappear from the public eye once they're secured in private collections. So this exact moment you're watching, is your window to check your coins, authenticate your finds, and potentially join the growing list of Americans who turned ordinary change into extraordinary wealth. And yes, that life of financial freedom, that upgraded lifestyle, that dream of living comfortably and confidently. It might already be in your possession, waiting to be discovered. Before I close, here's the final cliffhanger. The biggest coin discoveries in U.S. history were made by everyday people, not experts. And one of the most valuable modern coins ever found, worth $765,000, was sitting unnoticed until someone paid attention. The next legendary discovery could be yours. So stay curious, stay dedicated, and keep searching. Wealth doesn't always arrive in a briefcase or a bank wire. Sometimes, it jingles quietly in your pocket. Imagine holding a small piece of metal that could rewrite your entire financial future. A coin so overlooked that millions of Americans spent it without blinking. Yet one rare error version of this very coin is now worth up to $872,000. Yes, you heard that right. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary world of the 2020 Salt River Bay quarter error, a modern treasure hiding in plain sight, capable of transforming ordinary people into extraordinary success stories. And before the end of this video, you'll discover exactly why collectors are scrambling to own it, and why this could be your moment to turn a forgotten coin into true wealth. The year 2020 was unforgettable for many reasons, but in the world of numismatics, it gave birth to one of the most sought-after American coins of the decade. The Salt River Bay quarter, featuring the iconic red mangrove design, may appear ordinary at first glance, but a rare and extremely valuable error coin slipped into circulation that year, an error so significant that collectors today are willing to pay life-changing money for it. This coin isn't just a collectible. It's a symbol of opportunity, a reminder that sometimes the most powerful wealth-building tools are surprisingly small and often hiding right in our pockets. But before we get to what makes this coin worth close to $900,000, and yes, that staggering number is real, let's take a moment to understand why error coins have become the gold rush of the modern era. Collectors around the world know that mistakes at the US Mint don't just create anomalies. They create legends. They create scarcity. And as we all know, scarcity is what drives demand, value, and explosive market growth. So ask yourself, if you had an object in your home that was suddenly skyrocketing in value, would you recognize it? Or even worse, would you accidentally spend it? This brings us to Act 1's turning point. Somewhere in America, an unassuming collector discovered one of the first known 2020 Salt River Bay error quarters. The coin displayed dramatic misstrikes and structural anomalies that separated it from the millions of flawless quarters minted that same year. That discovery sparked attention, then conversation, then bidding wars. And for anyone wondering whether people would truly pay hundreds of thousands for a quarter, well, the market answered loudly. The current high-end valuation for exceptional examples of this error? $872,000. Yes, a single coin, a single mistake, a single opportunity. Act 2 opens with a question many viewers are probably asking right now. How does a coin minted just a few years ago explode in value so fast? The answer lies at the intersection of rarity, modern collecting enthusiasm, and the accelerating shift toward alternative assets. Wealthy buyers are no longer satisfied with traditional investments alone. They want tangible, historical, one-of-a-kind pieces that elevate their collections and their status. Coins like the Salt River Bay error don't just appreciate, they create movement. They attract attention. They ignite competition. And every time a collector is willing to pay a premium, it sends a clear message to the market. This is the next big thing. Now, I know what you're thinking. Maybe you're wondering if you yourself could be holding one. Maybe one of these error coins slipped into your pocket change after buying a cup of coffee. Maybe it's sitting unnoticed in a drawer in your kitchen, quietly waiting for the right person to realize its worth. And if that idea doesn't spark excitement, or a little bit of fear, it should. Because every day, someone unknowingly spends rare coins at face value. Every day someone throws away a fortune because they didn't look closely enough. And every day, collectors and dealers rush to find the next treasure before someone else does. But let's interrupt that thought for a moment, because I can't be the only one who now stares suspiciously at every quarter I touch. If you've ever felt judged by a vending machine, just wait until you start checking your change for errors. Suddenly, you're Sherlock Holmes with pockets full of clues. A bit dramatic? Maybe. But the stakes are real, and the rewards are undeniable. As we transition deeper into Act 2, let's talk about the current market. The demand for the 2020 Salt River Bay error quarter has reached a fever pitch. Auction houses are reporting aggressive bidding, private collectors are offering premium prices before coins even hit the market, and major numismatic circles agree. This coin is poised for continued long-term appreciation. Why? Because unlike older coins with more predictable price cycles, modern error coins are in their value explosion phase right now. Once collectors lock them away in permanent collections, availability collapses and prices soar even higher. And this brings us to a critical cliffhanger. In just a moment, I'm going to reveal what specific characteristics make this coin instantly recognizable and highly valuable, and what you should be looking for in your own collection. But before I do, let me remind you, people who hesitated on coins like the 1955 double-die penny or the 1932 D. Washington quarter now regret it deeply. Those who acted early created wealth that lasted generations. The difference between the two groups wasn't luck. It was awareness, timing, and the courage to treat opportunity with respect. Act 3 begins with the details that every serious collector, buyer, and seller must know. The most valuable 2020 Salt River Bay error coins exhibit dramatic misstrikes, off-center designs, die breaks, and in some cases, deep structural flaws caused during minting. These are not subtle errors, they're bold, visual, and rare enough that experts consider them top-tier modern errors. And because they're from the year 2020, condition matters. High-grade examples, even with the error, command the most staggering prices, including that now-famous $872,000 valuation. So where does this leave you? It leaves you holding the potential of something extraordinary. If you own older coins, rare coins, or even recent mint issues stashed away, this is the moment to take action. The moment to review your collection with sharp eyes. The moment to position yourself in a high-demand market where modern rarities are turning ordinary people into successful sellers and successful sellers into true wealth builders. And now, for the final cliffhanger of the journey. What if I told you this isn't the only modern coin experiencing a massive value surge? What if the next six-figure coin is already in your home, waiting for discovery? In upcoming videos, we're exploring more hidden treasures, modern coins worth staggering amounts, coins that the average person handles every single day without realizing their incredible value. If today's story taught you anything, let it be this. Wealth doesn't always arrive in giant leaps. Sometimes it arrives in your hand, disguised as a quarter. And when opportunity presents itself, the ones who take action, who investigate, who learn, and who seize the moment, they're the ones who live the lifestyles others only dream about.